The moment the cameras blinked to life and the bright studio lights washed over the table, Joy Behar was already leaning forward like a boxer edging out of her corner. Her smile was polite, tight, and unmistakably loaded. Across from her, Billy Bob Thornton adjusted the sleeves of his worn denim jacket, the picture of casual indifference, or at least the attempt at it. He'd been on 100 talk shows, sat through 1,000 interviews, dealt with 1,000,000 questions he didn't care to answer. But something about The View's early morning tension, that coiled energy mixed with the forced cheeriness of daytime TV, always rubbed him the wrong way. Today, it felt even more volatile. Sunny introduced him with her warm, practiced cadence, listing off his latest film, his recent music projects, and a line about his distinctive presence both on screen and off. The audience clapped with the kind of enthusiasm daytime crowds specialized in, steady, bright, just a little too eager. Billy Bob nodded once, offered a half smile, and folded his hands on the table. He looked ready to coast through the segment with minimal effort. Joy wasn't going to let that happen. "So, Billy Bob," she said, drawing out his name with a tone hovering between teasing and challenging. "You've had, well, quite the reputation over the years. Mood swings, odd interviews, getting prickly when someone brings up something you don't want to talk about. Are you planning to behave today, or should we all buckle up?" The audience laughed because they weren't sure if they were supposed to. Billy Bob's jaw flexed once. He didn't laugh. "I'm here to talk about the film," he said calmly. Too calmly. The calm of a man already annoyed. Which is usually the point of doing a press tour. "Well, yes, sure," Joy replied, waving her hand as if brushing away the expectation of basic interview boundaries. "But you know us, we don't like boring here. You've stormed out of interviews before. We want to make sure we're all safe." She pressed a hand to her chest, comedy-level dramatic. "I don't want to be attacked by an Oscar winner before lunchtime." "That's not what happened," Billy Bob said, straightening in his chair. His voice stayed steady but carried a new edge. "And I don't attack people. I leave when people treat me like a circus act." The room's temperature shifted. Even the audience picked up on it. A few murmurs, a few nervous giggles. The camera zoomed slightly, the director sensing something brewing. Joy arched an eyebrow. "Well, you're an entertainer. People want entertainment. You can't be shocked when folks expect a little unpredictability from you. Unpredictability isn't the same thing as disrespect." His eyes locked on hers now, no longer dodging. No longer brushing things off. "I've been making movies for 30 years. Writing music longer than that. I'm not here so someone can poke at me for sport." "Sport?" Joy let out a laugh, sharp, dismissive. "Come on, Billy Bob, don't act like you're fragile. You've always had this, let's call it delicate artist thing going on. Like the slightest touch and you crumble." That did it. It wasn't a shout or a sudden gesture, just the tiniest tightening around his eyes, the flash of disbelief, the quiet insult of being publicly minimized. Billy Bob Thornton had been called many things in his life, but fragile was not one of them. He leaned forward just a little, elbows on the table, voice dropping into the steady, deliberate cadence that came out only when he wanted every word to hit like a thrown dart. "Delicate artist thing," he repeated. "That's what you think my life has been?" Joy folded her arms, preparing for impact. "Well, you do get awfully sensitive in interviews." "Sensitive," he cut in, his voice still quiet. "Joy, I've survived poverty, addiction, losing family, working jobs that would break most people. I've built a career from nothing. I've written music that got laughed at, played in bars where people threw bottles, acted in films everyone said would flop. And I kept going. Because I'm not fragile. I'm human. And sometimes humans don't like being mocked on national television." The audience shifted again, this time toward him. Joy opened her mouth to counter, but he wasn't finished. And for the record, he added, every time I've walked out of an interview, it was because someone decided they wanted to provoke me. Like you're doing now. She blinked, caught off guard by the precision of the accusation. Me? I'm just asking questions. No, he said. You're trying to get a reaction. The air felt heavy, charged. Even the crew members off camera froze. Sonny stepped in, attempting to steer things back toward safety. Maybe we should talk about the movie, Joy. That's what he. But Joy wasn't done. She leaned forward, voice rising enough for the studio mics to catch every syllable. I'm doing my job, Billy Bob. People want the real conversation, not a scripted promo. You want conflict, he replied. You're digging for something to blow up so you can make a headline out of it. Joy's chin lifted. And you're acting like you're above it all. But here you are, getting worked up over a little ribbing. Because you're not ribbing, he shot back. You're being disrespectful. There was no laughter now. Not even nervous noise. The audience sat suspended between curiosity and dread. Billy Bob exhaled, long and slow, rubbing a hand over his face as if trying to physically push away the irritation building inside him. He glanced toward the cameras, then back to Joy. You know what? I came here out of respect for your audience. For the people who watch this show. But if the only thing you want to do is poke at me like I'm some kind of performing animal, then I don't need to be here. Backstage buzzed like a kicked beehive. Producers moved in rapid zigzags, headsets pressed against their ears, whispers rising into frantic tones each time someone said Billy Bob's name. A stagehand jogged to the hallway where he'd disappeared, only to return shaking his head helplessly. Security hovered casually but not casually near the exit in case something truly explosive unfolded. Back at the table, the host sat frozen, still trying to process what the viewers had just watched go down live. The View thrived on tension, but this wasn't tension. This was a rupture. Joy Behar finally broke the silence with a sharp exhale, leaning back in her chair as though she'd survived a sudden gust of wind. Well, she muttered, trying to reclaim her footing, that was dramatic. The audience didn't laugh this time. They were still too wide-eyed, still reeling from the intensity that had erupted so abruptly on live TV. They weren't sure yet whether they'd witnessed a meltdown or a justified walkout. They couldn't decide if Joy had pushed too hard or if Billy Bob had overreacted, or if the truth sat somewhere in the middle. Sonny placed both palms on the table, grounding herself. We need to go to break, she told a producer hovering just off camera. He nodded, motioned to another crew member, and a red cue light blinked twice. But someone from deeper backstage waved frantically, signaling they needed a few more seconds. The control room wanted to decide how to spin the chaos before cutting to commercial. Joy could feel the eyes on her. Not just the studio audience, but the millions watching at home. She wasn't new to controversy, but something about the moment gnawed at her, not guilt, exactly, but a faint unease. A stinging awareness that she might have, for once, pushed past the line instead of dancing on it. Well, I guess he proved my point, Joy said with a shrug that came out more brittle than she intended. He does storm out. This time, the audience offered a soft scatter of laughs, unsure and uneven, as if they were checking with each other before committing. It didn't land the way Joy wanted. She knew it. She heard it. Sarah leaned in gently, choosing her words with precision. Joy. I think he felt you were going after him. Like intentionally. Joy frowned. I was interviewing him. This is a talk show. People come here to talk. Talking isn't the same thing as provoking, Sonny murmured softly, still staring in the direction Billy Bob had gone. He wasn't in the mood for jokes. You could feel that from the moment we introduced him. Joy waved it off. Oh, come on, you're all going to make me the villain now. No one's calling you a villain, Alyssa said carefully. But maybe it got personal in a way you didn't expect. The cameras rolled, still capturing everything.